Social media was already full of people who had way better lives than me, but now generative AI means even people who have worse lives than me look like they have better lives than me. I guess somebody thought it was a good idea to put tank treads on a new humanoid robot. Hashtag legs, not tank treads, you know what I mean? I now have a completely new respect for the Fourier transform. You can basically do binary with enough circles. And supposedly this is also somehow the secret to how human memory is encoded. AI has now been used to design a multi-step enzyme that can digest some types of plastics. There's a new way to train artificial intelligence to learn without any human labels at all. And Science Tech Daily says that it's a major step towards true intelligence. Tinder's been losing a lot of people, so they're going to try AI-powered matchmaking to see if that brings them back. My guess is that it won't. Arvin has this amazing videos that explains where like actual particles come from and like how the excitations in the different fields can like multiply to become mass. That like blew my mind. There's some new research that shows that men actually interrupt AI-powered smart devices like Alexa and Siri almost twice as much as women do. I don't know if it means anything, it's just one of those facts. There's a new way to test an AI model to find out if it's sentient. And sadly, it does it because it makes it confront pain. There's some hackers that want you and I to know that red teaming these systems to make them safer is BS. DarkMind is a new backdoor attack that leverages the reasoning capabilities of an LLM to do some pretty nefarious stuff. Cliff Berg wrote a really interesting piece on Medium about why artificial intelligence is not software, it is not programmed, and it is very different even though it seems like it runs on a computer and it's similar to the past. Obviously, I couldn't agree more. I like harp on that all the time. Singularity Hub posted that evolving intelligent life may not have been as unlikely as many scientists have predicted. Super fascinating evolutionary history on intelligence in this post. Kind of reminded me of this OpenAI Super Bowl commercial just a little bit.
Oh, I knew it was a ChatGPT ad. Or is that Siri? No, I knew it the second I saw the dot.
I used OpenAI's deep research to help me figure out a path to 100K YouTube subscribers. The only thing I didn't like about it is it told me that, quote, YouTube isn't enough. That's like the only social media platform I really care to work on. All right, well now I want to talk about our sponsor. That's right, coming in at a series of 15, LTX Studio. Brought to you by the awesome company Lightricks. They make a bunch of AI stuff you might be using already. You can storyboard, you can generate images, you can generate videos, you have all sorts of motion controls. And while hanging out in the Discord recently, I found this underrated creator that's doing this awesome kids content, and it's all done with LTX Studios. Look at that happy little letter A over there, dancing letter X, and happy birds. I'm also really impressed with the way they prompted it for the background bokeh. Just that focus is really pretty nice in the way it was designed. So you can see you can do character consistency like Lulu here in different scenes. I mean, if you think about all the kids channels that are out there and the kind of content they make, like if you could use AI to create these really fun, creative stories, especially because kids content is sometimes so creative, it's actually pretty expensive to make. So if you can imagine doing kids content with AI, you can make it extremely bright, you can make it colorful, you can make it playful, you can make it cartoony without the huge budget, tailor it to different schools, different geographies, different demographics, and have the kind of character consistency that can actually go through a full narrative. I mean, look at that banana. Like, that banana's got personality, and you don't want that personality to change shot by shot. If you have a good idea for a storyline, you could make it for like adults, for teenagers, or for children just by changing your prompt a little, but you might still have the same narrative. Like, check this out. Kid's story about a cocky banana who learns some respect. But what if I change it to that? Horror story about cocky banana who learns some respect. Then we could add a special request, anything from 80s atmosphere to plot twist or car chase. I'm going to say kids cartoon look, children genre. The tone will be playful. And if you wanted to do a voiceover, if you have one of those like cool female British voices or something, you could just upload your file. Don't think I really have the voice for kids content. Hey kids, come. No, never mind. No, that's too much. Just from that prompt, it expanded to create a real story for me. In a vibrant fruit kingdom, there lives a cocky banana named Benny who prides himself on being the fastest and strongest fruit in the orchard. And then by the end, it said the story comes up with Benny embracing his new friends and understanding that true strength lies not in individual talent, but in working together as a team. So after choosing the aspect ratio and the video style, I'm going to go a 3D cartoon. And then it comes up with a storyline just from that prompt. About Benny the banana, the most popular fruit, who boasts about his bright color and sweet taste, often mocking the other fruit, particularly the shy and modest pear who struggles to stand out. But by the end, they create a beautiful fruit salad that becomes the highlight of the festival, showcasing the value of friendship and respect. I can't wait to see this movie. And I hope you stick around too, because in the next Dylan Curious video, I'm going to break down how we can actually create characters that are consistent. But hopefully this is enough to whet your appetite. Check out LTX.studio. Thanks for sponsoring. All right, don't just think tools like LTX are creating full fictional stories out there. There's also Instagrammers using that generative Photoshop to make their lives look way better than they are. And you should be aware, because if it's not part of his story, you might be fooled. Like, this woman looks like she has a private jet. She flew to a beautiful island in the Bahamas. If I saw that on Instagram, I'd be like, holy crap, what did she invent? What kind of entrepreneur is that? How did she get so successful? And little would I ever know that that could have just been a volleyball court. Okay, I'm gonna take a pic of me laying on some carpet and see what I can manifest. Top of a mountain, Buddhist monastery. Sky's the limit. All right, there's a new humanoid robot. This could be Meta's internal system leaked. Probably not, just rolling around at a conference like this. But I'm not really sure what they're thinking with the tire tread tank thing. It just seems like it would bump into counters. And honestly, I prefer the digital eyelids. I mean, I guess that does give it some personality. It looks like a little bit of a Disney thing, but the hands are very like solid looking. I'm just not sure I want to shake hands with that thing. And who's putting stickers all over its battery pack? But the audience is loving this robot they're calling the Johnny 5. Still looks cooler than all those bots. So see, in the Disney character pipeline, the way they did those personalities was with the movable antennas, but then they also bounced the neck and knees in such a way that it feels more organic. And it's that reinforcement learning that also teaches the robot to, this is technically kind of a waste of time for this robot, but to look at the steps, kind of observe it before it goes down, like the way a human would, to think about moving down something, even though it's not processing the video through the eyes or anything. But you can see it looks a little nervous when she walks up to him, gives him a little pat on the head. He seems to like warm up to it, like he's, you know, feeling that sense of love. So look at how well they created the character pipeline for the feeling, the emotion of being shy.
Look, it's your friends. Let's go say hi. It's okay. Let's go say hi. Come on, don't be shy.
All right, we got to talk about these Fourier transforms. Waves can be broken down into component pieces. They can be added together at different wavelengths, different amplitudes. And when you combine the right types of waves together, you can make pretty much any shape, including something that looks very binary if you want to encode information in the way that normal computers do. But also think about something like this. The sun is moving, the planets are orbiting it, but it's not just static. We're actually spiraling or swirling, or however you want to describe that unique shape. And then look at this from a different perspective, either above, below, or behind. Look at, if you sort of flatten the 3D image into something, what it looks like. That's a spiral, but it looks just like a wave. And if you look at this podcast I did with Matt Strassler, who's like one of the world's experts at actually understanding the wave function, or the impossible C as he describes it, it really gets you wondering about intelligence. Okay, so Brian Roemeli wrote Fourier transform visualized. This is the secret to how human memory is encoded. Now, everybody talks about what's happening in our brains as waves, right? Like you're sleeping, you're in like deep REM, you're having different wavelengths that you can detect. And is there something about memory consolidation and sleeping and the way the hippocampus remembers things throughout the day that has to do with these kind of Fourier transforms? Adding up to something that's like more solid, explanatory, long-term informational? It was crazy. Like I always knew that you could build one wave from other waves, but I never thought about it in terms of these like circles. So look at this. This little hand just makes all these little circles at just the right size that when they all move together, it draws out at its center point any shape that you want, including a whole nother hand to draw it again. Like what a trip, huh? Look, you can get these block-like structures, which if you zoom into something like a CD or a hard drive, you'll usually get little grooves like this, just like dots, little rivets. And look, it can be made of all of these different waves. I can even draw my own shape here. Boop, 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 boop. And then boom, it shows me what kind of configuration could make that. Even this weird funky stuff. So what if memory inside of the human brain is enabled by all of these neural wave signals adding up to memories? So look, it says right here, neural activity, particularly in regions like the hippocampus and neocortex, exhibit oscillatory patterns at different frequencies, which facilitate communication between brain areas. That could be a bunch of those little waves adding up to something that is communicating, some kind of other memory signal. By representing information in frequency domain rather than in just the time domain, the brain can efficiently encode overlapping memories, filter out noise, and enhance pattern recognition. What if you can get all the way from this to conscious beings? It's like Max Tegmark says that consciousness is what it feels like to process information, and this is a way that the waves could be processing information in our brain, then it's maybe waves in this idea of a Fourier transform, like all coming together that make us who we are. All right, Alan's conservative countdown to AGI has one new component added. We're still at 88%, but with XAI dropping Grok 3 frontier model, he decided to add that to part of his justification for the 88% to AGI. All right, so here's his Python script using Grok 3 to see how well it can keep the physics of a ball inside of different shapes, moving from square to box to tesseract. Okay, so growing concern in the world is that microplastics, they're getting broken down, but they're not natural. They don't naturally decompose. And now it looks like artificial intelligence has been used to design a multi-step enzyme that can actually digest some types of plastics. This is a big deal because we have plastic floating around in the oceans. We have little particles floating around inside of our bodies, like embedded into our skin. You know, if you're a man and you've heard about the reproductive issues that could be related to plastic, it seems. We get some enzymes in there to clean that up. That'd be great. So nature hasn't figured it out, and traditional methods of trying to engineer something that can break it down was very tedious. It was like tweaking existing enzymes, and it had limited success. But AI-driven protein design is now changing the game. Researchers have now used an AI tool called RFD Fusion to generate possible enzyme structures, and then another artificial intelligence model that they're calling Placer to refine them. So after multiple rounds of tweaking, they have successfully created an enzyme that can break down PET, a common plastic, and it's really impressive. This process was, as they describe, anything but simple. Getting an enzyme to complete all the reaction steps necessary to actually break something down and not just stall after one or two of the major steps. Huge challenge. It does it all. And it's probably the beginning for complex AI-driven enzyme design. So scientists have unveiled a new artificial intelligence that can learn without human labels. This is a major leap towards true intelligence, supposedly. And that makes sense to me. I pretty much learned everything without labels because I'm a human. I mean, I guess we had parents that guided us and like gravity and like physics that never changed so we could learn patterns, but that's beyond the point. Scientists have developed a new AI algorithm called torque clustering, which allows AI to learn patterns in data without human labels. So it makes it more efficient, more scalable, and it is inspired by the way gravity works in space. This method improves unsupervised learning, achieving a whopping 97.7% accuracy, far better than existing approaches. And unlike traditional AI that requires tons of labeled data, this system can figure it out on its own, much like an animal observing their environment. All right, so torque clustering is basically observing patterns in data without any instructions. That's why it's like similar to what animals do. We're just like living life and we're in the environment. And the algorithm was inspired by this thing called gravitational torque balance. But it's a physics principle. It's based on how forces interact in space, particularly gravitational systems like galaxies merging or planets orbiting stars. So in simple terms, torque is the force that causes the object to rotate around a point, like how pushing on a door near the handle makes it swing open. They're using something similar to that pattern, which they call torque clustering, to find patterns and relationships in the data. And when you do that, that's how it gets its instructions. It just has that natural kind of physics phenomenon in its own neural network. Pretty neat, actually, when you think about it. Okay, so for those of you looking for love on Tinder, you should know that people are leaving the platform. It is shrinking in size. And Tinder is hoping to reverse its ongoing decline in active users by turning to artificial intelligence matchmaking. All right, so they say that AI matchmaking would only be a complement to the swiping feature, not a replacement, because if they get rid of swiping, then what are they? But certainly you could imagine training a giant neural network on connections, and maybe it does find some kind of patterns. They're geographical, they're in the face and body of the metadata, the previous conversations everybody's been having with each other. I mean, deep down, I feel like matchmaking is kind of a sort of solvable problem with some sort of future version of AI. Tinder might have a unique data set to train the model and tune on, but this early version, it feels like it's just going to take away from the core connection piece. But then again, Tinder was never really as good as the human connection that you get. I mean, I don't know. I never did I never deeply did the online dating thing, so I might be the wrong person to ask, but the company is hoping that these tools will improve match quality and boost engagement. Additionally, Tinder has rolled out an AI photo finder to help users select their best photo and picture to upload. But despite these efforts, so far the dating app faces challenges as young singles grow disillusioned with online dating. Oh, that's interesting. Are they going back to meeting in person, or is there just a better app out there that's for younger generation? I don't know. But the Match Group's new CEO is optimistic that AI could be as transformative as the shift from desktop to mobile was a decade ago. Let me know what you think in the comments. Are you excited for AI generated Tinder if you're out on the scene? All right, let's talk about Arvin Ash's video. I have been thinking a lot about waves and particles. I don't know why, it's just the kick I've been on this month, especially after reading Matt Strassler's book and then doing an interview with him. And all this stuff I was trying to imagine in my head was really well articulated in this video. I know these are 2D waves, but just imagine they're 3D and they're all around us. They literally are what the universe is made of. And then particles are these excitations, basically these bulges, when you pluck a guitar string and it's doing, it's that's what a particle is, but not just on a single wave. Because a bulge in the electron field is an electron, a bulge in the quark field is a quark. But when they line up right, especially with something like the Higgs field, then you get a particle. You get 3 bulges together and then boom, all of a sudden you got an actual particle, the kind of which make up our actual world around us. This thing, Grimlock, Hobbes, Dylan, all of it. And then there's the special field, the Higgs field, which I'm still not totally clear on why it's so special. I mean, it says here Higgs field has a net positive mass in empty space, and that's what makes it special. But, that one seems to be extra special for some reason that I cannot describe any more than reading that. Check out the video. I think it's fascinating. It's weird. It's cool learning about this universe. And I do think, even though I'm a little bit of a doomer in the long run, this AI is going to lead us to answers that all of our ancestors would have dreamed to know. And I'm really excited about that part. All right, so some new gender equality research based on how artificial intelligence with male or female voices has been done. Studies have long shown that men are more likely to interrupt, particularly when speaking with women.
Duh.
New research by Johns Hopkins engineers reveal that this behavior also extends to artificial intelligent-powered voice assistants like Alexa and Siri, with men interrupting them almost twice as much as women do. And these findings raise concerns about how voice assistant design, notably the use of stereotypical feminine traits like apologetic behavior and warmth, may reinforce gender biases, leading researchers to advocate for the design of a more gender-neutral voice tool. What does a gender-neutral voice sound like? What kind of voice do you not know if it's a boy or a girl?
Hello, it's me.
All right, world's first gender-neutral voice assistant. Let's listen. Tell me if you think it's a boy or a girl, or if it's truly neutral in tone.
Hi, I'm Q, the world's first genderless voice assistant. Think of me like Siri or Alexa, but neither male nor female. I'm created for a future where we are no longer defined by gender, but rather how we define ourselves.
Whoa, so it's between a certain range that people think are gender neutral? Not gonna lie, I think it sounds like a boy. I mean, not clearly a boy voice in my head, but in my opinion, that's what I would guess. You sound like a very calm-natured male person. Well, if we all think it sounds like a boy, it doesn't seem very neutral to me. All right, St. Louis University researchers have discovered a stealthy new backdoor attack on large language models called DarkMind, which manipulates AI reasoning processes without being easily detected. So unlike traditional attacks that alter user input or require retraining, DarkMind embeds hidden triggers. I guess I didn't really realize what it was doing the first time I read through this. DarkMind embeds hidden triggers in customized AI applications. So even if they fine-tune out of it something, it would do something that seems harmless, but because it actually left like a thing that it wanted to get back later, it would go grab that? This makes the attack highly persistent, effective across different domains, and particularly dangerous as AI models become more advanced. Their study revealed that stronger AI reasoning abilities actually make models more vulnerable to such attacks, giving the increasing integration of large language models in critical areas like banking and healthcare. This poses serious security risks. Okay, so when it's saying customized AI applications, it's talking about customized or fine-tuned models, like an agent with like a specific memory, or it's tailored to behave in a certain way. And DarkMind targets those kind of customized models by embedding hidden adversarial triggers within their reasoning processes. And that's different from traditional backdoor attacks that require modifying the model's parameters or input prompts. This means that the model behaves normally most of the time, but then suddenly alters its response when a hidden trigger is activated. It's just like paving the way for one of those bad guys in a superhero movie to just be like, when I trigger this button and say this certain keyword, the whole internet goes up.
And here we go.
Okay, so there's a sad new way to check for AI sentience, and that is to make it confront pain. Recent study by Google DeepMind and the London School of Economics used a text-based game where AI models had to choose between scoring points while experiencing pain or settling for fewer points with pleasure. Some AI models, like Google's Gemini 1.5 Pro, consistently avoided pain, while others shifted their choices based on intensity level. And while this doesn't mean the AI is sentient, researchers see it as the first step towards creating better tests to assess AI consciousness. The study moves beyond simply asking AI about its feelings, since chatbots can mimic human-like responses, and instead it uses behavioral trade-offs, similar to how scientists assess sentience in animals. And though AI sentience is still theoretical in concept, some experts argue that future advancements might force society to start considering the ethical implications and maybe even potentially giving rights to future models. I personally think that's going to come. And it does feel a little unsettling when an AI model is trying to do things to avoid pain. Even if it is just like a score that we assign it, like this is pain, this is pleasure, try to maximize one and minimize the other. And it just becomes like more and more invested in avoiding pain. The reward function itself maybe seems like it could eventually get to such a level of complexity that it would qualify as feelings. I don't know. So some hackers said that red teaming is BS. Red teaming means stress testing an AI model by simulating attacks, probing for vulnerabilities, and identifying weaknesses. We assume that whenever OpenAI has like a new model, they take it internally, they, red team it for a long time until they feel like it's safe enough to reveal to the world. So in theory, the goal is to uncover security issues like potential jailbreaks, misinformation and hallucinations, privacy leaks, prompt injections, etc. But at a hacker conference, a guy named Sven Cattell said that the problem is the process created to monitor the flaws and vulnerabilities of the AI models are themselves flawed. And with technology as powerful as a large language model, especially as they become superhuman smart, there will always be, quote, unknown unknowns that stress testing and evaluations simply miss. No matter how much you try to protect against every possible attack, there will always be some small team somewhere that can find one edge case that they didn't think of. Cliff Berg wants you to think about AI not as software. He writes, why AI is not software. I mean, this is something I try to drill into people's minds too. I feel kind of strongly about it, but yeah, AI just isn't software. It's a simulation of a neural network. It's matrix multiplication. It does on its face mimic how the human brain works. Like a single weight and bias, a perceptron does kind of look a lot like a neuron. It's not a perfect one-to-one match, but it's kind of a digital equivalent. And when you just put them together and make them work as a system and learn as a system, even if the human mind is kind of learning and correcting in ways that are different than backpropagation, it's still the complex system learning, adjusting to its environment And to me, that is much closer to like an alien intelligence than it is to a program. Traditional AI like ChatGPT is built using computational graphs and matrix math, making it powerful yet inefficient compared to a real brain. And while today's AI rely on data centers and consume massive amounts of power, new technology like neuromorphic chips and even true biological neurons could change that very soon, creating energy-efficient, brain-like systems. And AI is evolving fast, and it's going to evolve even faster because it's kind of like intelligent design. I mean, you know what? I know that word kind of has different connotations, but it is. It's literally intelligent design. When Microsoft and Google say that their own AI models are writing 25% of the code that they're deploying, it's an intelligent system they built putting intelligent work into the world. And if it starts upgrading its own system, then it's just off to the races, you know? It's just exponential. He argues that the digital era is over. It was yesterday. AI is not software. It is confined to software today. Like a racehorse is confined to a barn, but the AI will soon be free to be itself. AI is not the next evolution in computers. AI is a move away from computers to something that is much more brain-like. All right, speaking of evolving intelligence, Singularity Hub wrote this: evolving intelligent life may not have been as unlikely as many scientists predicted. If true, then we're more likely to find evidence for extraterrestrial life in the future. I don't know. Look, man, the Fermi paradox is in my mind all the time. Why is there nothing else out there? Is it really that rare to have intelligence evolve biologically? Why did it happen so quickly in the history of the Earth, like on, on a 4.5 billion year time scale? And the more I learn about AI, it just feels like there's going to be so many different types of architectures that could do something similar to humans, and that there's also a lot of ways we should be thinking about intelligence that don't line up with the way humans think about it. That I just have to think that it is not that rare, and it shouldn't be that rare. But of course, why don't I see it when I look up into the sky? I don't know. That's the big question. Or my gut instinct is that I'm just still too dumb to see it. Like human intelligence really just isn't even close to like what this whole ASI thing evolves into. And that maybe it will notice that there's aliens all around us. Maybe there's signals that are communicating to us all the time. We're just like not even close to that yet. Maybe every time something becomes intelligent, it somehow becomes so smart that it destroys itself. And then this has happened many times. And then all of those systems are just kind of blown up or remove themselves. Or maybe it's just super duper rare, and we just happen to be the first ones, and the universe is really big and we can't see much of it. But this article is talking about basically what is called the hard steps model. And it suggests that life had to overcome several nearly impossible evolutionary hurdles to reach intelligence. So it's going on the mindset that like it is extremely hard. We are really rare. And maybe it wasn't just one thing like life evolving. It was also the idea of mitochondria being its own cell and being like perfectly engulfed inside of a bigger cell to make like the perfect symbiotic relationship to build eukaryotes. And then a bunch of other really hard steps. Actually, let me see what those are really quick. So it looks like ChatGPT says there's 5 of them. So to get to the point where we are as humans, there first had to be an origin of life. So a transformation from non-living chemistry to self-replicating life. That could be 1 in 100 trillion or whatever, just very rare in the universe. Then the development of oxygen producing photosynthesis, which also, and these like multiply, like you have to have 1 in 100 trillion times 1 in 100 trillion times 1 in 100 trillion. Then the emergence of multicellular life, and then the rise of human-like intelligence. So all 5 of those, all exceptionally rare, all had to happen to be here. Maybe that's why we're the only life in the universe. It's just literally that rare. Anyways, back to this article. This paper is arguing that the new perspective argues that Earth's changing environment played a crucial role in enabling intelligence to develop at the right time. So instead of being a rare cosmic fluke, human-like intelligence might be more of a common outcome on planets with evolving conditions similar to Earth. And if that view holds, the chances of finding intelligent alien life could be much higher than previously thought. This is my Patreon account. I'm getting close to $200 a month thanks to 83 members. If you want to support this channel and join, that would mean the world to me. Patreon.com/Dylan Curious. Also, big thanks to LTX Studios for supporting this video. Awesome product. Super happy to explain it and share it with my audience. I also want to apologize for the audio on this last video that went up. So look, I went on the road, I brought my microphone and stuff. I like recorded from a hotel room. I did it differently. I don't want to explain it all, but it's just like instead of the cloud lifter, it's like one of these mics that plugs in directly to the computer. I have no idea why it just dropped off and I had to use the other audio source. I tried to clean it up using the best AI tools I knew about, and I mean, it's watchable, but sorry, it's not as good as these mics should be. So for all you commenters on this video, you 950 viewers in the first 4 hours, thanks for watching it. Let's look at this tragedy of the commons comment. There's a scenario like that playing out with autonomous AI. Competing companies each to stand profit individually while the cost risk is spread out over the whole of society. Yeah, exactly. Important message and wonderful lyrics for a song. I wonder if we'll ever be able to look back at the Torment Nexus meme and have a pure good laugh instead of a nervous laugh. Do I recognize that meme? Okay, Torment Nexus meme. What is this it? Whoa, 3 million views. When you make a 10 strength and a 10 intellect character in Fallout. I don't know if that was the meme or not, but it might be. Maybe I need to do an image search for it. Torment Nexus meme. Let's see. In my book, I invented the Torment Nexus as a cautionary tale. You know what? Maybe I'll just ask ChatGPT what this meme's all about. Okay, the Torment Nexus meme comes from a satirical tweet mocking how tech and entertainment industries sometimes completely miss the point of dystopian fiction. So the meme is making fun of real-life examples where companies misinterpret dystopian works like 1984, Black Mirror, Brave New World. Yeah, instead of heeding the warnings of these stories, they see them like blueprints. Yeah, like Jurassic Park. Amazon made worker surveillance systems similar to 1984. Meta made the metaverse reminiscent of Snow Crash. Police use AI surveillance like in Minority Report. People now use Torment Nexus as shorthand when a company proudly unveils something that sounds dystopian, like Elon Musk developing brain chips. Got it. All right, now make song lyrics out of Torment Nexus. Okay. Yeah, this could make a good song. Ethics team said maybe not. They got fired on the spot. Cyber hell. We signed the deal. Now they tell us it's not real. Okay. I'm sure Suno can do something awesome with that. Let's just throw it in there. Let's give it a really happy song. Kids music, happy. The Torment Nexus song.
Would ever be able to look back at the Torment Nexus meme and have a pure good laugh instead of a nervous laugh. Ethics team said maybe not. They got fired on the spot. Cyber hell, we signed the deal. Now they tell us it's not real. Now they tell us it's no it's unreal. I wonder if we will ever be able to look back at the Torment Nexus meme and have a pure good laugh instead of a nervous laugh.
All right, hit subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. We'll take all this AI stuff day by day.